All right, welcome back, everyone. Hello, it's so lovely to have you all back. And let's start by going straight into the superpower. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state. However you normally do that, repeating your word or phrase, or using your anchor, or by focusing in on your subject and how much you love them and what you appreciate about them. And starting to feel your heart opening, your chest expanding, that beautiful light or energy shining out from your heart. Very good. Now allow that light, that energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. And now allowing that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Very, very good. And now allow that light, that energy to fill the little you, yourself as a child, any age. Filling that little you with that light, that energy, that love. Loving that child, that little you, just for existing. Exactly as they are. And then allowing that light or energy to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood, no matter what. Shining that light into any darkness, filling everyone, everything, every event, every experience, every circumstance with that light, that energy, that love. Good job. And now allowing that light, that energy to fill everyone who's on the call today. All of those who are on camera, those who are off camera. Loving each one just for existing. Very, very good. Good job. And you can open your eyes if you have them closed, and let's check in, find out how everyone's doing today. All right, so Chris, you're first up on my screen. How are you today?
I'm on holiday today.
Very nice.
Look how I bring love into my life, and I love myself.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I've come along on holiday. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I've come along on holiday with my two feelings from last week of it's not fair and an attention seeker. So I'm just having a nice time with them. They're on my post-it note, and I just found them in my pocket and it reminded me.
Ah, that's lovely. Good.
I'm checking in every day a bit and thinking, okay, just join me.
Excellent. Good job.
I'll report back to Steve and yourself in due course.
All right. I love that, Chris. Thank you.
Just an idea for today, though, which hopefully will be of benefit to others. So I think I remember it coming up as a question sometime about sublimation, in the sense, here we go. I feel very much my mother sublimated her own character and her own feelings and forfeited them for us to be a good mother.
Yes.
So it was such a strong thing that I think I must have inherited it, although so I've been trying to just think through, well, where am I going? I think as a younger woman, I certainly did. And the whole process of learning more about myself and how I can become empowered has begun to undo a lot of that.
Right.
But I wonder what your thoughts are and where to go, because do I find just one key memory as a point of, you know, oh gosh, that's when I did that. I sublimated my own choices, my own direction to what I thought was right. For example, I give an example. So there was a point at which in my marriage earlier on where the children were still quite small, all under 10, let's say, and I did have an opportunity to leave the marriage, which, you know, wasn't going well for me anyway. But I didn't. I always thought, oh no, it would be terrible for the children. It would be terrible for the children.
Yeah.
Do I choose just that one and change it?
So I would say start with, how do you know that your mum sublimated? How do you know that that was a thing for her, that was a characteristic of hers?
How's a feeling of the guilt that she had is all transferred to me?
Right.
I get the guilt.
Yes. So if you were to just change your marriage, the bit about your marriage and thinking it's best for the children and all of that, that's just the leaves and branches of the weed.
Okay.
The reason you felt that way in your marriage is because you learnt it as a child. So you need to change those first. So you change your mum so that your mum knew that taking care of herself and her own needs and her own joy and peace and health and love and all of that is the best thing for her children. Because, and you can even create memories of her saying to you and saying to other people, you know, the most important thing you can do for those you love is take care of you so that you can show up in the best possible way for them. And you can have her explaining, you know, when you go on an airplane and they say, put the mask over your own face before you help others, because if you don't, you won't be able to help them. In the same way, if you don't take care of yourself, and if you aren't feeling happy and fulfilled and rested and healthy and energized and all of that, and if you're not getting what you need, you cannot, it's just not possible to give to others. Can't give what you don't have. So have her teaching you that as well as demonstrating it. And ideas for memories of her demonstrating it, in addition to changing any memories that are there, where, you know, it's quite clear where she did the opposite, you can change those. In addition to that, you can have her relaxing and saying, perhaps saying to your dad, you know, I'll be there in a minute, I'm just having my alone time, or I'm having my relaxing time, or your dad, and your dad saying to her, no, relax for a bit, you take your time, I'll sort that out, or whatever. So create lots of references and proofs of that.
Well, that's nice. That's lovely.
That sound good? And then you can move forward with your own, and have her also, in fact, both your parents saying to you the same thing. You know, like you go, oh, can I help? And they go, no, you take some time for yourself.
Yeah.
So all of that make those strong, practice them, and then you can move forward and eventually get to the marriage where then you can change that. That'll be fine. That'll probably change automatically.
It will.
Sound good?
It does. That's good. That's lovely. Thank you so much, Odille.
You're very, very welcome, Chris. And thank you for bringing up that topic.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you.
Good.
Hey, so when you're in the little kid state, right? Wait, by the way, it's Magnificent Monday. So when you're in the little kid state, you can actually see yourself, like I do this, but I've been doing this, and it's really cool because the feeling behind it is I write out like I'm manifesting what I would love to manifest while I'm in that little kid state. And I think that's really helpful because I feel all that, you know, there's no, like really no filters. You just go for it, you know, so that's fun because you can see bubbles and all kinds of stuff, you know, little animals around you. And, I don't know. It's really cool. So.
I love that. Thank you, Lisa. That's a great idea. Yes. allowing yourself to get into that state, and then just imagining allowing yourself to be in the feeling of the end result as a child, in that child state. I love that. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, the outcome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it felt really good to me. So I thought I would relay that, because I was wondering if that could help somebody else, because you'd be coloring and then writing out what you would love to do with your life or whatever you want.
Definitely. Lovely idea. Thank you so much.
And that's it. I'm good.
All right. Lovely. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. And then we have Tina. Hi, Tina. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Good.
I'm still happy. Everything is fine.
Good job. And any questions or anything for today?
No, I don't have anything.
Excellent. All right. Very good. Well,
Good.
Yay. And it's lovely to have you here as always. Thank you for being
here. Thank you. It's my day off. That's my weekend, Sunday and Monday.
Yes. Oh, good. So I'm glad that you've chosen to spend some of that with us. Yay. All right. Very good. And Swasti, how are you today?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. So somebody here last week talked about stepping into your shoes and changing memories really quickly.
Oh yeah.
And that was really helpful for me. Like, I did that over the weekend, and I just changed them so quickly. It was great. Ones I've been struggling with quite a while. I guess they had like other anchors and things, but they just changed, which was amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Good job, Swasti.
But I did have a couple of questions on like some of the memories I was changing. So I changed memories of judgment and family members and people judging each other, but I wasn't sure like how to go about that. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you know there was judgment? There was judgment.
Yeah, so I had some like visuals of people like pointing or laughing or like talking about people behind their backs. So I did change them to the opposite, but I'm not sure if that's enough, if that makes sense.
Okay, and so what makes you not sure that it's enough? What makes you doubt that it's enough?
Probably whether they actually changed, or they're just like only acting nice this once.
Okay, very good. So when you think of those particular people, just like as soon as you think of them, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Now it's the new memory.
Good. So that's how you know.
Okay.
All right. Now, is there anything of the old memory that comes up automatically without you doing it on purpose?
No, so today I worked on a memory of like everybody getting to choose what job they do and where, like how they spend their time and things. There's like people walking past my mum's house.
Yes.
And instead of like pointing at the house and being like, oh, they have everything so easy, they're also getting things easy.
Good. Yes, perfect. So that sounds like it's definitely, and then, if in the future a trigger happens or something, and anything of the old one comes up, then you can just change that. It just means there was another route there, but it looks like it's definitely changed.
Okay.
So well done.
Thank you. So just another quick question about like second guessing, and this is related to the exam I had to take, and not like, so when I read something and not understanding the first time, so that you have to read it again, even when I'm doing on-timed practice.
Yes. And so you're saying that you need to read it again, and what happens when you read it the first time?
Sorry, 1 minute.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay. So when I read it the first time, but I don't really understand it.
Okay. All right. And so is it something that, so like, let's say you read it the first time, you didn't really understand it. Is it something that you would normally understand, but it's just in this circumstance that you didn't understand it?
Yeah, so when I do usually read things like a book, I can understand it, but I guess it's just the questions.
Okay, that's what I thought. And so what's happening there is when you read it the first time, your prefrontal cortex is offline.
Okay.
So you don't have that ability, that part of your brain that would comprehend normally, it is not actually functioning at that time. So that's why you want to make sure that before you start, you get into that state of feeling good. And there's going to be, of course, there's the nerves involved, there's the concern and all of that. But if you're able to get into that state where, so take a deep breath and imagine being surrounded by your favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say do that. So do that before you start the test, and do whatever it takes to get into that calm, happy state before you start the practice test or any test. And then before the question, and get in, and you can imagine your color as you're reading the question. So that, and remember that what you're doing is keeping the blood in that part of your brain, front of your brain.
Okay. So just breathing and the color before.
Color. So that it doesn't take long to do. And, I would say practice that before you even start the test. So imagine you're doing the test.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, okay, so now I'm going to do the test. Color, and now I'm reading, and do that a few times so that you're getting into that state. And so taking a deep, calm breath also brings down the stress chemicals, helps to bring down the stress chemicals.
Okay. So I find it really hard to balance like adrenaline to be able to go fast, like walk through the test fast.
Yeah.
At a certain speed, and just reading
and
things.
Staying calm. Yes.
Yeah.
If you think of a brain surgeons, very often they have to work very quickly, but they can't be they can't be excited. They have to be calm and focused and fast. So have that, so that it's not that contradiction. There is a way of doing it, and there's a lot of jobs where the person has to stay really focused, but they have to move quickly.
Yeah.
So it's a very different state to, athletics or something like that, where you're physically charged. And in fact, this is a perfect time for me to share something. So Theresa, who is a client of ours, and she contacted me on Facebook and sent me this little video that is about breath. And I'm going to share it here in the chat. And Steve, if we could also share it in the description of the video, of course. And she came up with an acronym that I really liked. I thought was very clever. An acronym of STOP. And she says, an acronym for STOP popped into my mind: sort things out peacefully. And I like that. I thought that was really catchy and very true. And then she also added BY, breathe yourself. So I'm going to share this, and the little video is only 5 minutes long. And Swasti, I think in particular, you might find it helpful. So if you watch that, and it's just basically about breath, and so that you can use that in combination, like Theresa was saying, she was using it in combination with the Superpower, which is helping to get into a calmer but focused state.
Okay.
So I think that will help. And it's all about practicing when you're not in the situation. So before you start the test, and by before you start the test, I don't mean just before, you can do it just before, but like during the day, at other times when you're doing other things, just every now and then practice getting into that calm, focused state. And it's that, yeah. And you may have references for that. So from movies or television or other things that you've done where you've been focused but efficient.
From movies?
Could be movies or television. I mean, The Matrix, or
like
something like that. Characters, you know, where somebody has been in a situation where they've gone very calm, where they're not, you know, so like the you know, the in the Matrix, if Neo was like panicking or like, oh, we got to get this done, he wouldn't be very effective. But he's like, right, let's do it, boom, 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 right? So that's what you want to get that into that state of mind as well. That might help.
Okay, yeah, that would, yeah, I would know that. Thank you. And is this also to do with like second guessing? So,
so the
first, yeah. So the first answer I think of is usually right, but then I'll always almost overthink it and then.
Yes.
Yeah, and then get the wrong answer.
Okay, so so with the second guessing, of course, there must be references there. So it could be, you know, you could find out how does it feel to get the wrong answer. So if you went with your first answer and it was wrong, what's wrong with that? How does that feel? And then check any childhood memories, change them to the opposite, positive, empowering. And then what I would do, is there any limit to the number of these practice things you can do? Can you just do as many as you want?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I would do them as an exercise of not getting them right. In other words, do it going with your instinct and remind yourself it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you get 0.
Okay.
The practice and the exercise is to answer them as quickly as possible, whether the answer is correct or not.
Okay.
And do that as many times as you can until you feel comfortable doing it. And then you may find that the scores are higher than you expect. And that may give you a bit more confidence as well, in addition, of course, to changing those memories.
Okay.
And getting into that calm, focused state before you do it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, definitely.
And that'll take the pressure off, knowing I don't care what score I get. I just want to go with my first instinct each time and see what happens.
Okay.
And expect it. In fact, so this is important as well, I think, expect the score to be low. Expect to get 0. So that it's like, yeah, whatever. Anything above 0 is a bonus. So that it gives you that takes the pressure off, gives you that relaxed state.
Okay. To be honest, I've been expecting low scores anyway. But that's due to lack of confidence, not because.
Right. Does that sound good?
Thank you.
Very good. You're very welcome, Swasti. Good job. I'm proud of you, sweetheart.
Thank you.
All right. And Katrina. Hi, Katrina.
Hi, Odille.
Hey, how about you today?
How about me, indeed? Right. I'm going away for a few days, and the body has been triggered big time.
Okay.
You know, I'm going on holidays. So over the weekend, it physically sort of switched down, as in, you know, you're too ill to travel, you're yeah. And then got that sorted, and then what now? Yes, so then I went to try on outfits, and there's nothing working, and then, you know, beating myself up terribly. So I get really frustrated and annoyed, and actually the time was up. I didn't know I was, you know, coming on late.
Yeah.
Trying to get it sorted, and but anyway, so feeling very uncomfortable with myself, I suppose, because I have to go. So it's triggering something from the past, obviously.
Yes, clearly. So are you, let's just check where the issue is. So when you think about, let's say, magic, and you're there now, oops, throwing my arms around the limb. So let's magic you there, and you're now there. Any negative things? How do you feel about actually being at the place where you're going?
Well, there's a good chance I might be wearing something that I'm uncomfortable in. It would have worked a few years ago, and I really liked it, and took a chance, but got it wrong, and, you know, that type of thing.
Okay, so the worst thing that's going to happen when you're away is that you're going to be wearing something uncomfortable. Is that right?
Yeah, not feeling good.
Not feeling good.
About myself. So therefore, when I'm not feeling good, I'm not, you know, chilled out and relaxed and being in the moment.
Yes.
Away somewhere else, you know. And I want to go home and all this kind of stuff.
Okay, all right. So if you were to be able to wear anything at all, what would it be? And you don't have to say what it is, but tell me when you've got it in your head.
No, I just want, if I hadn't the extra weight on, everything would work. It's the extra weight.
Yes. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with wearing something that is comfortable, but that fits the extra weight?
No, but the stuff's not fit. It's not adjusting to the weight.
Okay. Can you get something that adjusts to the weight? So in other words, can you get something in a larger size or in a different shape or whatever it is that would make it comfortable?
I could, but I seem to still focus on the weight, as in, even if it's bigger, then I will look bigger. That's
what I wanted to home in on. Yes. So that's what I wanted to check, which piece was the issue. Okay. So what's wrong with looking bigger? How do you know it's bad to look bigger?
Well, just for me, I don't feel good. It doesn't make me feel good.
Okay, good. And what is it about it that doesn't feel good?
I don't feel confident. I don't know.
Good. Okay. And so how, in other words, if everyone was the same size, if everyone was whatever size you are now, how would you know it's not good? How would you know it's a problem? So what I'm trying to get to is it physically uncomfortable, or is it what you think other people are seeing? So what is, if you were to home in on exactly what's not comfortable about it, or exactly what doesn't feel good or confident, what is it? And what are you comparing it to? Because how do you know this is not as good as that?
I felt when I was slimmer, I felt more confident.
Yes, good. And what is it about being slim that makes you confident? That's what because there are a lot of people who are bigger, who are very confident. So what is it about being slim that makes you confident?
Most people probably admire, well, in my circle.
There you go.
Yeah, admire they.
That's it. That's where it's coming from. Because otherwise, how would you know? So that's great. So well done. So now most people in your circle admire people who are slimmer. And where in your childhood does that come from? How do you know that being slimmer is admired? So was your mum slim?
Yes, in her younger days, yeah.
Okay, and any comments, any experiences, any memories around that? Things that were said or things you witnessed?
There's nothing coming.
Nothing coming. That's okay. So your dad never mentioned anything about people being slim or overweight or anything like that?
No, he was away in his own wee world. He was happy. He didn't see.
All right, very good. And in school, anyone who was overweight in school, teachers or children?
I probably maybe it must have been me. I compared myself with another girl who I thought maybe was slightly taller and slimmer.
Right.
So I wanted to be like her.
Okay. And why did you want to be like her? What was so great about her?
She just looked better in the clothes. She looked slimmer. She just looked, I couldn't find a fault with her.
Okay.
Mm.
So, because so when we're children and we look at other children, we do not know, we don't know who looks good, who doesn't look good. We don't know anything about them except for what we learn. So we learn either by being told or by witnessing or experiencing what looks good, what doesn't look good, if somebody looks perfect or they don't. Because if you take small children that haven't learned that yet, they couldn't care less who looks like what anybody's wearing or anything. They learn that from their parents or those around them. So that's what we're looking for, the original references for when you see a slim, tall girl. What is it? How do you know that because she could be ugly. How do you know she's not ugly? How do you know thin is not ugly and being bigger is more attractive, which at some point in history that was the case. What changed?
Just in my eyes, she was the better looking girl.
Yeah.
And I compared myself to her.
And so when you
be like her, I really wanted to be like her.
Right. So did she seem happy?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some reference there that we haven't quite got to, how you knew that being like her was a desirable thing. So I would say see if you can find that. If you can't, it doesn't matter, but that's what we're looking for. And if you can't find it, we'll just change whatever we can, and that may change automatically or it may come up. All right. So when you say you compared yourself to her, when you looked in the mirror and then you thought about her, what was the big difference? How did you know that you weren't already like her?
When I looked at her, she looked good, but when I looked at myself, I didn't, I immediately was beating myself up. I wanted her hair, I wanted her eyes, I wanted, just, you know what I mean?
So there's definitely a reference there, because there's no way that as an 11-year-old, you would have been able to know that without a reference. You wouldn't have, for all you knew, you were the beautiful one. So there's some kind of reference that says thin, whatever her eyes were, whatever her hair was better than yours. What makes hers better than yours? That's what we want to find out, if possible, or that's the original reference, certainly. So did you ever experience your dad or your brothers or anyone else commenting on the looks of someone? Anybody?
Not as a child, but later on, yes, there was.
And what was that?
Would you not like to look like her?
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, and how old were you then?
Oh, in my 30s. I was married then.
Okay, and so was that your husband said that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're getting closer. Okay, so your husband said, wouldn't you like to look like her? And who was her? What did she look like, that woman that he was referring to?
Somebody with a very good looking figure and looked the part that she was playing.
Excellent. Okay, good job. You're doing very well, Katrina. Okay, so now I want you to take that moment where he says, would you not like to look like her? Pick what feeling is there. Just focus on that feeling, how that felt when he said that. You got it? You got that feeling? Okay, yeah. Now where in your childhood did you feel that feeling, and it may have nothing to do with looks? Whatever that feeling is.
then I don't know what the feeling is.
Well, that's okay. We'll go with a different path, and that's
yes, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Yeah.
couldn't believe what you were hearing. And where in your childhood did you have that same feeling of I can't believe what I'm hearing, or what I'm experiencing, or what that person is doing or saying?
Okay, maybe there was something, my mother comparing me to another girl. I think I mentioned this.
Okay, that'll do it. Let's remind me of it.
A friend took me home and was asking about his brother. And so I stayed out late in the car, but she sort of got the wrong end of the stick and really sort of hammered the hell out of me.
That's it. I do remember that. And that girl was very she was completely unruly, and you would never have done. She was comparing you to someone who was terrible.
Yeah, somebody that I was not like. Yeah.
Okay, so and so when you think of that memory now, is it the new memory, or is it still some of the old memory there?
But I don't think I changed it.
Okay, so there we go. So if you change that, so definitely change that memory. So make a note of that. That's some homework to do. Definitely change that memory, because that will be providing a huge reference for probably a lot of stuff. Okay, so change that to the opposite, positive and empowering, where she's comparing you to somebody fantastic, and or she's saying, there is nobody like you. I'm so grateful that you're my daughter, and perhaps she starts listing things she loves about you and appreciates about you. Now, in addition to that, your husband who said, wouldn't you like to look like her? Who does he remind you of from your childhood? And it may not be a male, it could be male or female, could be anybody.
And I think another thing that's coming up that's relating to this is my hair was going from short to long, and I was in between, and I said, I don't know whether I should keep it short or keep it long.
Yes.
And he said, what difference? Who the bleep would be looking at you?
Wow. Well, that'll do it too. Yes. Okay. Good one. Very good. So you do want to change those, but we want to find the childhood stuff first, and then change those. So who does he remind you of from your childhood?
But there's nobody spoke like that in my childhood.
Mm-hmm. But the feeling so, okay, that's good. So when he said those things, again, that feeling, even if they didn't say anything, what feeling is it? Or who does that feeling remind you of from your childhood? So
well, it was a shock. That was a shock.
Very good.
For him to say that, I was actually taken back.
Yeah.
By that, I really, it really was, at that time, blown sideways by that last sentence.
Okay, good. So that feeling that you've got right there, that's bringing up the emotions. Where in your childhood did you have that same feeling? Where you're blown sideways by something. Could be anything, doesn't need to be something someone said. It could be anything at all. But that same feeling of being blown sideways, the shock. And you can say the first thing that comes to your mind, even if it doesn't appear to have anything to do with it.
No, it's well hidden, or it's well...
Okay. And that's okay. That's all right. So he doesn't remind you of anybody in particular from your childhood when you think of him? And like I say, it may or may not, it may be male or female.
No, who that sort of, made me feel small or made me inferior.
Nobody in your childhood made you feel small or inferior.
Well, unless mummy's saying, I mean, being stupid, you know, for not getting 11 plus. How could I get all the, you know, there's 52 cousins, why was I given the 4 stupid ones?
Wow. Well, that would do it. Do you see that?
Make me inferior. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. That's very strong. That's a very powerful one. So go to that one definitely and change that, where I am so lucky to have been given the 4 cleverest ones, and especially Katrina, the cleverest of all. I'm so lucky that I got Katrina and I didn't get, you know, whoever the cousins were. Definitely change that round. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Because here's the thing, Katrina, I suspect that, and just knowing how these things work, and you know, the bits that I know from your life, is that if you were to lose weight, you were to go back to the weight that you're comfortable with and that you feel good in, you would find there would be another reason to feel bad, and somebody else is better off, and it could be the money, it could be the status, it could be a relationship, it could be anything. But the status quo from that childhood is they have something, they're better than me in whatever way. And if it's not looks, it'll be something else. It'll be health, it'll be opportunities, it'll be experiences. So that's why you want to change that, because when you change that, then you automatically have whatever it is that's better than the others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not about the weight and it's not about the clothes. It's about that original reference of why was I given the 4 stupid ones. That's huge. Right? And as a child, to hear that from your parent means death. You know, if you've got this, that your parent thinks you're not worth saving, and why couldn't I get a different child? It's the same with Swasti, with the boy, you know, why the boys being more, and somebody else, I think that came up where, in another session I did, where I wish it was a boy, or why couldn't it have been a boy, and it's a girl. Wow, that means death. That means they could just leave me in the wilderness to die while they take care of other people's children, or get new children from somewhere. So that is crucial to change. All right.
And I just wanted to jump in, also making sure that if there's a lot of emotion, and it looks like there's a lot of emotion around this particular memory, making sure that you do a due justice letter on that, perhaps, you know, or do whatever it takes to bring the emotion down there. And the other bit is that your mom is saying that from her own program. So what about her childhood led her to that place?
Yeah.
What do you suspect your mom was feeling back then? How did she get to be the woman who ended up feeling that way? So, I mean, there's a couple of other things to check there too.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. There's a good point. And that is not to excuse her behavior and what she said, but that's just so that you can change whatever that is, so that it may, you know, then she would automatically have been very different with you.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yes, thanks a million. Yeah.
Very welcome. And do you feel you can do it? You feel confident with doing it? You know what to do and everything?
Yeah, I'll give it a go, yeah.
All right. Well,
okay, thanks a million.
Good job. You're very welcome, Katrina. And thank you for sharing that, because again, it will help others as well. You're not alone on this. Okay, good job. All right. So, Steve, anything from the chat that I need to answer before we target? No direct questions, but you know, some good comments going on about the kind of the ending of a relationship, you know, the sadness that's being experienced at the end of, you know, a relationship.
it's not really necessarily a question, but if there's any words that you might want to add about just how to deal with, the immediate, even though it may have been a good decision, a good, an ending, there's still the sadness that's there. So any thoughts on just dealing with sadness in the moment?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, depending on what it is, certainly, Steve's new technique of the feeling, so stepping back from the feeling. So if you've got the sadness, how does become aware of how the sadness is expressed in your body? So is it in your chest? Is it in your throat? And what does it feel like? And then stepping back from it, imagining stepping back from it so you can have it in front of you, and then noticing the qualities of it. If it had a color or texture, what would it look like? And then asking, what is this? If this feeling is an entity, what does it need? What does it want? What does it have to say? And allowing it and loving it exactly as it is. So that little exercise, and then also perhaps allowing it to live somewhere else. Where would it live? Could you get it a seaside cottage, or a cat basket, or a whatever? So that, and then once you've been able to do that, to separate yourself from it and allow it in that way, you could then, of course, check your childhood. So whatever's caused the sadness right now, whatever's triggered it, where in your childhood did you feel the same sadness? It may be a completely different topic, but will be the same sadness, and of course change that and practice new ones. All right, very good. And so hopefully that helps, and let's do the targeting. So Steve, if you could send me the target list, and let's take a deep breath. And either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state, however you do that. By repeating your word or phrase, or using your anchor, or focusing in on your subject. And starting to feel your heart opening, your chest expanding, as that light or energy shines out from your heart. Very good. And allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Very, very good. And now allowing that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Good job. And now let's go to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her intuitive instincts and the trusting, whether she's able to trust them or not. Love it all exactly as it is, shining that light into any darkness, whether her intuition is reliable or not. Love it all anyway, exactly as it is. And the financial abundance for everyone, whether they're abundant or not. Allow that light, that energy to shine into any darkness, and love everything exactly as it is and no matter what. Very good. And now to Tina. Fill Tina from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Tina, just for existing. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Tina and fill whatever memory or references are there that are blocking her from moving forward to do some business. Whatever that is, love it exactly as it is, and no matter what, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all anyway. Whether she's able to move forward and do the business or not, love it all exactly as it is. Shining that light. Good job. And now to Chris. Fill Chris with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Chris, just for existing. Very good. Good job. And now to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti, just for existing. Good job. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Swasti and fill her IQ exam results and the preparation she's doing for that. Fill all of that with that light, that energy, that love, no matter what, no matter how the preparation goes, no matter what the results are, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all anyway, exactly as it is. Very, very good. And now to Katrina. Fill Katrina with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Katrina, just for existing. Allow that light, that energy to fill the part of Katrina that feels uncomfortable and worried about going away, and the clothing and the weight. Love all of that, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all anyway, exactly as it is. And think about Katrina now on holiday, and whatever she's wearing and however she's feeling, and whatever happens, love it all exactly as it is, no matter what, shining that light into that Katrina, whatever happens, and everything and everyone around her. Very good. And now to Sue. Fill Sue with that light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sue, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Sue and fill her friend, her good friend who had her first chemo treatment yesterday. Fill Sue's friend with that same light, that energy, that love. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sue's friend, just for existing. And no matter how the chemo treatment went or goes, or whatever happens, love it all exactly as it is, shining that light into all the cells of her body exactly as they are. Loving it all. Good job. Very good. And Sylvie. Moving on to Sylvie. Fill Sylvie with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sylvie, just for existing. And now allow that light, that energy to fill the sadness that she's feeling, to fill the sense of failure, the closing of whatever it is that's important, whatever that is, stepping into the new phase in her life, everything around that, the ending of something, the beginning of something else, filling all of that with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is, no matter what happens, shining that light into any darkness. Knowing that she cannot create anything bad for herself, so whatever happens, no matter what it looks like, it has to turn out to be either good or nothing to worry about, as long as this light continues to shine. Very, very good. And now to everyone who's off camera today in this call, and everyone who's watching the recording, fill all of them with that same light, that energy, that love, loving them all just for existing. Good job. And now allowing that light, that energy to fill future you, so yourself later today, whatever you'll be doing or experiencing or feeling, allow this light, this energy to fill that version of you, loving you exactly as you are, no matter what happens, no matter what you do. Pure, unconditional love, shining that light into any darkness. Very good. And now pick one target in your life, one trigger in your life or in the world, something or someone that triggers you, and fill that person, event, circumstance, experience, whatever it is, with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is, shining the light into any darkness, feeling your power as you do that. And surge. Good. And surge again. Very, very good. Good job. And you can open your eyes if you haven't closed. And how's everybody doing? So hopefully that was good. And have a wonderful rest of your day. We will see you. Very welcome, everybody. And we will see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow. Look after yourselves and keep practicing, of course. And we will see you tomorrow. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye now.